Hello, Aries. Welcome. Thank you for being here. This is going to be a general read. We're going to be dealing with what their intentions are towards you. Of course, everything may not resonate, so take what does and leave the rest. And for more tarot readings after this, please check out my wife's channel and Val 3 Tarot. She's review as well. Thank you. All right, let's see what's going on. Okay. What is that called? A not not understanding that. How that kind of okay. Aries, fasten your seatbelts with this one. We're going on a trip. We're going on our trip. We're going on our trip. Well, is it in our favorite rocket ship? I think that song is pretty funny. We're going on a trip in our. But it's also kind of like energetic, like, oh, cute, adorable. I'm kind of responding this way to this because let me get two more and I'll jump into this. There we go. I'm responding the way I am to this because energetically, they do present their energy as well as your energy. They are definitely someone who likes to literally just project. Project. What does that mean? To project their ideas, their thoughts, their emotions, their feelings outward onto others, onto the situation, onto just outward. So when in a sense they're kind of emitting energy. This is an energy of like they like to be the cause and they like to have some sort of impact or effect on people, situations. It is what it is. It's an energetic world, universe, and that's how energy works. The energy you give off has an impact or an effect on your surroundings as well as relationships, connections, and interactions. Now, where I'm getting this energy of we're going on a trip, the energy, it makes me think of, I forget how long ago it came out online. People started to refer to themselves as like a psychonaut, a S or Psychonaut, kind of like an astronaut, but a psychonaut. Someone that is all mental. They kind of live in their internal universe. They live from upstairs. This is someone who's like they're upstairs. They rarely come down to the first floor of reality and put their feet on solid ground. This is someone who, you get it, they live up here from their ivory tower of imagination. Makes me think of like, Princess in Bowser's castle. She's stuck up there, and the only thing she can kind of do is kind of, escape in a sense or fantasize through her mind and live reality from a place of her mental capacities, her imagination, her wild fantasies, illusions. That's what I mean by we're going on a trip. Energetically speaking, what their intentions are towards you, Aries, they're kind of going on a trip. They're going on a trip. There's so much projection here towards you. I don't know why. I don't know why. That is such a strong energy there, Crosswatcher to start. By the way, hello. I mean, living from the mind is not living at all, by the way. Living from the mind is not living at all. That's survival. To escape or to run away into a fantasy or an illusion. Everyone knows video games are used to, not only bring some sort of experience, some sort of sensations, right? To go on an adventure, to be the hero, to slay the dragon. It's all fantasy. It's all role playing. There's nothing wrong with it. But the problem is when you find yourself, communicating and socializing with people in the real world, yeah, you can do that with them if they're into it and it's agreed upon, but to do that instantaneous with someone is like you're already projecting like this movie that you've made up in your mind about who they are, who you think they are, and you're projecting this onto Aries is what I'm looking at. And for some reason, it's like, wow. For some reason, they're fantasizing about you, Aries. It is what it is. They're fantasizing about you, and it's one of those situations where, oh, it's not something of like, wow, I can see my life with them. No, this is a situation of like they're mentally, energetically playing with your energy in such a way where it's kind of like, um, what is that other video game? Dress to Impress or some shit. Like that's what they're kind of doing. They're a psychonaut. They like to travel around in their, their mind, their fantasy, their visualizations. They, um, the possibilities are endless and infinite, right? The possibilities are endless and infinite. That's kind of crazy though. I don't understand why they're escaping reality. I don't understand like why they're not seeing you for you, Aries. I don't understand like why they're escape. It's weird. It's like they're kind of living this fantasy world or fantasy life, fantasy land, la la land. They're kind of using you as a form or a drug as escapism. This is like, wow, my life. What's the example? My life is so mundane and boring. I'm going to use someone as my form of escape. That's no different than scrolling social media and be like, I'm fucking bored today. And let me just kind of scroll, scroll, scroll. Oh, look at this person. Swipe left or swipe right, I forget. Oh, wow, that person looks like they're living a very exciting life. Now, I understand it to kind of like be curious and see how other people are living. But to come from a place of like projecting onto you, Aries, is something completely all different. It's completely different. I don't know why there's this. I don't understand like why they respond to you the way they do. Um, that's kind of it's a little weird. This is kind of like let's play with dolls or let's play with action figures, but it's like mentally so that like they feel better about themselves, which is weird. It's like imagine that. It's like the amount of self confidence that must be lacking with this type of energy or this type of person. That if they were to literally face reality face to face, their mind would just shatter and fall apart because that's how fragile and delicate they are. I don't know why they're using this form of escapism on you or towards you, but it's don't know. Don't know what that's about. It is what it is. That's like them saying, I can't cope with reality, so I escape in my mind. That's no different than like another example is like prisoners or people who are in lockup or jail or they're a felony, felons with felonies. I got no place to go. I'm stuck here in the cage of my mind behind invisible bars, and I got nowhere to go but my mind. I mean, speaking of, there's justice. Look at this. Are they behind bars? Are they locked up areas? Like, what is this? Are they? I mean, they've got to be a prisoner of something. in order to fantasize and use you as an escape. They've got to be a prisoner of their own mind. They've got to be a prisoner of their own mind. And so what I'm saying here is they're not living in the real world. They're not living in the real world. Oh, I'm an alien. No, you're no different than a theater projection machine. Nice try though. Like I said, it started off with this energy of like cute, adorable. You're no different than a machine and project. That's no different. Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. They're using you, Aries. They're using you. This is someone who has literally like they've sat down, they have gone through a mental construct and have fabricated or constructed a whole plan. Like let's go through the steps of plan of what they mentally foresee with you. And it's like all up here. It's like, wow, you've really thought of everything. How much time have you had with yourself to sit here and think and come up with all this towards Aries? Like how much time, like I said, it's like that prisoner mentality. Like I get it, people fuck up in life. People do deserve second chances. But it's time to let's get out of the video game of the mind. Let's get out of that fantasy world and let's step into the real world and face reality face to face. And that's the reason why they project is because they can't face reality face to face. They can't do it. That's why they role play. That's why they fantasize. That's why they project. That's why they live in this dream world. It's all a fantasy. Are they a fan, Aries? Are they a fan? Are they fanboying over you? Are they fangirling over you? Are they starstruck or awestruck? Is it one of those? It's like it makes me think of like one of those anime pictures where they're kind of like this and they're just like, ew, and they got like the big old puppy dog or cat eyes, like Puss in Boots. Are they a meme? Like a GIF? What is it? Because it's not based in reality, nor is it grounded in reality either. There's a Seven of Swords, Aries. Like I said, sneaky, sneaky. What are they up to? What are they up to? How crazy. I'm actually looking at, well, I'm not going to say what I'm looking at, but that's actually pretty funny. um, Look at that. Like I said, for the example, to continue the example, because they just portray the picture so crystal clearly, a prisoner. How many push-ups and how many sit-ups do they do in that cell, that cage, just round and around and around and around and around and around? It's interesting is sometimes you'll see them with like big old stretched ears, like big old tunnels. It's crazy. Like you got nothing but time. How much time have you done? How much time have you served? Have you paid your dues? You've learned a few mental tricks in lockup, haven't you? And escapism and fantasizing is one of them, Crosswatcher. The problem is it's not grounded in reality, And that's why all of a sudden you're getting so upset and irritated that this is getting aired out. Like you got no, what happens when you got no place to run, no place to hide, even from your own mind? Like, damn, what happens when you can't even escape yourself? What happens then? Because you're showing me for some reason with this, you're like spinning circles and you're like, fuck. You can't escape this shit, Crosswatcher. You can't escape this shit. Haven't you already figured it out yet? We're already inside your mind. Question is, where are you going to go and what are you going to do? There's no place to hide. Look at this. They're losing control of their mind. That's what I'm talking about. They're losing control of their mind. They're losing the grip on reality. Here we go. They're thinking. There's the Eight of Cups. They're thinking. And they're thinking and they're thinking and they're saying, whatever. Uh-huh. Okay. They're struggling. They're struggling. They're still looking for a loophole. Go figure. Okay, so what you're also emphasizing is you operate from the shadows. Okay, you operate from the shadows, the darkness of the mind. There's a Nine of Swords. Like I said, here we go. Okay, so what's going to happen when you find out you got no place to go? The King of Wands reversed. That's what's going to happen. When you find out you got no place to go, well, I guess you're going to see red. Okay. They're starting to sweat. There's a Ten of Swords coming out next. I mean, damn. That's like, what's that called? Dead to rights. Yeah, and there's the Eight of Swords. I mean, look at the spin. Look at the spin. Look at the mental spin, and that's what I'm talking about. The mental spiral. The mental spiral. Like, what do you mean? And there's a Hierophant on top of the deck. Somebody call a priest. They're swirling in their own shadows. They're swirling in the darkness of their mind. They're being tormented and haunted. And that's why they're using fantasy to escape. Like I said, hello, Crosswatcher. They're saying game over. That's interesting. That's interesting. Let's see. Like, I don't know. Look what happens when it's game over. There's the Hierophant jumping out next. Oh my goodness. Where's this go? Hey, Aries, look at that. You doing with another Aries, Aries? Oh shit. They're still struggling. Damn. Bitter. Very bitter. I mean, how, you know what I mean? It's like the Five of Swords reversed. Like I said, prisoner of their own mind. Like, what do you mean? So the Five of Swords upright is there's been something that they know they need to walk away from. So, like I said, the Five of Swords reversed is, like I said, they're pacing around in the prison cell or the cage of their mind, like I don't know, like a dog at the pound who has nothing else to do except bark and salivate and make a bunch of noise because that's all they got left. They're scared. They're scared of the reality outside their prison cell. They're scared of the reality on the other side of those. You know, you get it. Hopefully, it's not a chain link fence because that is fucked up. But it is behind those iron bars. They're scared because they got no place to go. They feel trapped. They're in their that survival mode, that fight or flight mode. There's a Three of Swords. Like I said, Aries, they're hurting. They're in pain. They're in pain. Deep down beneath all that bark, beneath all those teeth, behind that saliva and the drool, it's just a mask. It's a mask. They're hurting and they're in pain. And so when you go to, for example, a pound and you see those dogs that are just barking and angry and pissed off, what's actually missing for them is the love. Someone to take care of them, someone to love them, someone to nurture them. Because I'm sure, you know, at the pound, those animals are missing their mom and dad. They're missing that nurture, that care, that loving environment in those situations where it's kind of like, hey, you're good, you're taken care of, you're not alone. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be scared of. You have people here that are by your side and are standing with you to take care of you, look after you, and protect you and make sure that you're safe and that you're loved and that you know it. Marilyn Manson's Sweet Dreams. It's always been a good song. Travel the world in the seven seas. Everybody is searching for something. Everything does truly come around full circle, doesn't it? The problem is when you're trapped in your mind running circles, they're also avoiding the circles. They're avoiding these cycles. They're avoiding the reality of the situation of what their situation and circumstances are trying to teach them. And so they constantly stay on the move. They constantly run, 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 run. Well, what happens, like I said, when you got no place to run or hide? What happens when the place that you go to for safety and security becomes a danger or becomes a threat? What happens when your fantasy that you escape to, you can no longer go to because it no longer brings that false feeling of love, comfort, and security to you? That's no different than a drug or an addiction. What happens when that shit wears off? What then? Because then you're going to have to face reality and you're going to have to face your true face. You're going to have to step out of the shadows and into the light and see this shit for the reality that it really is. Ready or not, Crosswatcher, here it comes. Bye.